Before the world captures your attention, reclaim your soul. Each morning is a secret doorway, not one that opens for you to rush into noise, but one that invites you back to yourself. Yet most people never walk through it. They wake only to fall into another kind of sleep, the sleep of the mind. Their eyes open, but they do not truly see. They breathe, but they do not truly live. Even before the sun rises, their fingers scroll across screens, their minds already scattered into fragments of the world. They read thoughts that are not their own, compare their lives with others, and lose their peace in the very first moment of the day. The Buddha once said, "What you feel, you attract. What you imagine, you create." And yet, each morning, instead of creating peace, we sow in our minds the seeds of haste, of lack of restlessness. We wake up already possessed, letting the outside world shape our emotions, and letting trivialities dictate our state of being. That is why most people feel exhausted before their day even begins. They are not tired from lack of energy, but because their minds have already been taken over by the world too soon. But if just once you pause, take one deep breath, one still moment, you will see the difference. Dawn is not merely the start of a day. It is the opportunity to remake yourself. Every morning is an invitation from the universe reminding you that among 1,000 sounds, there's still one that needs to be heard most, the voice of your soul. When you begin your day by turning inward instead of outward, you reclaim mastery over your energy, your emotions, and your direction. It is not about resisting the world, but about choosing how to enter it with awareness, with intention, with wakefulness. Morning is the foundation of the mind. The way you begin your day determines how you will live it, and the way you live each day shapes your entire life. Let the morning no longer be a hurried blur, but a sacred ritual of return. Before the world demands you to do, remember you simply need to be. Before opening your phone, open your heart. Before answering messages, answer yourself. Who am I in this moment? For a day that begins in stillness will not be easily shaken by chaos. The one who returns to the mind before stepping into the world, that person is not just awake, but truly awakened. Every morning, while the world is still quiet, the mind begins to speak. Thoughts rise faster than the sunrise. Unfinished tasks from yesterday, worries for today, fears for tomorrow. Before you even leave the bed, your mind has built 1,000 scenarios, and so the day begins not with peace, but with turmoil. Most people suffer not because of circumstances, but because they believe everything their mind says is true. Yet the Buddha taught that the mind is like a restless monkey, leaping from branch to branch, never still. If you let it lead, you will exhaust yourself. But if you step back and observe, you will see, behind all that movement lies an open sky. That stillness is who you truly are. Imagine your mind as the sky and your thoughts as clouds. The clouds may be dark or light dense or scattered, but the sky has never been harmed by them. Likewise, no matter how many thoughts fill your head, your true nature remains the calm stillness beneath it all. When you identify with your thoughts, you are pulled by them. When the thought is anxious, you become anxious. When the thought is negative, you become suffering itself. But when you realize you are not your thoughts, only the one who witnesses them, you begin to find freedom. Each morning before the world touches you, take a minute to sit quietly. Close your eyes, breathe deeply, and remind yourself, I am not my thoughts. I am the stillness beneath them. This isn't about silencing your mind. It's about remembering it no longer rules you. Thoughts may come, but you don't have to follow. Emotions may arise, but you don't have to react. Just sit a gentle observer watching the rain pass, watching the waves rise and fade. In the space between awareness and reaction, freedom is born. Meditation does not teach us to mute the mind, but to listen without being carried away. It is the art of inner mastery, where you stop living by what the mind says and start living by your own clarity. When you know you're not the stream of thought, you begin to see the world differently, lighter, clearer, truer. Everything comes and goes, but stillness remains. So each morning let the mind speak, but let the soul answer. Let thoughts drift by like leaves upon a river while you sit at the bank smiling. For peace does not come when thoughts disappear, but when you realize you were never them. In that stillness you do not lose to the mind, you awaken from it. Each morning when the first light touches the earth, a faint whisper echoes inside the mind. I'm not enough. It's not loud, but it lingers, weaving through every breath, every glance, every thought. You open your eyes and instantly compare yourself to others, to yesterday, to the version of life you think you must have to feel happy. And before the day even begins, your mind has already fallen into the race of lack. But that is only an illusion. As the Buddha taught, all suffering begins when a person believes that something outside themselves will make them whole. The truth is, you were never lacking. You simply forgot what was already within you. Think of a seed, small, silent, seemingly insignificant. Yet within it lies the strength of an entire forest. It only needs time, light, and faith to sprout. So it is with you. The clarity, compassion, courage, and peace you've been searching for, they have always lived inside you. You don't need to become anyone else. You only need to remember who you are. The problem is not that you lack something, but that you've been too busy looking outward to see the treasure within. Every time you seek approval, you hand others the power to define your worth. Every time you compare, you trade away your inner peace. But when you pause, take a deep breath, and softly say, "Everything I need is already within me." You are declaring a profound truth that you are complete here and now. Begin each day, not with a list of things to do, but with awareness of what already is. This breath is a gift. This heart is a source of love. This mind is fertile soil for any seed you choose to plant. You are not lacking wisdom, you only need to listen to it. You are not lacking love, you only need to open your heart. You are not lacking strength, you only need to trust in it. When you truly feel your wholeness, you no longer beg for happiness, you create it. Being enough doesn't mean you stop growing. It means you grow without losing your peace. When you act from a place of completeness, every action becomes clearer, purer, and more sustainable. You no longer do to prove, you do to contribute. You no longer love to be loved, you love because love is your nature. Each morning, place your hand over your heart, breathe deeply, and whisper, "Everything I need, I already have." Let those words soak into your chest, flow through your breath. For peace does not come from gaining more, but from awakening to what is already yours. And when you live from that place of wholeness, the world around you begins to feel whole too. Each morning as the world stirs awake, chaos rises, with it the sound of traffic, the buzz of messages, the weight of work, the pull of expectations, the countless faces carrying clashing emotions. One careless word, one negative headline, one indifferent look, all can ripple through you, stirring the mind like a pond struck by stones. Yet in the Buddhist teachings lies a simple truth. Nothing outside can disturb the peace within you unless you allow it. For peace is not a gift the world gives. It is a flame you must tend yourself. The world will never be truly quiet, but you can be still within it. Peace is not found by avoiding the wind, but by learning to stand steady in it. When someone is angry, you don't need to be angry with them. When others lose control, you don't need to lose yourself. Imagine yourself as a deep lake. On the surface, waves rise and fall with the wind, but at the bottom, the water remains still. That is you when you realize your true strength lies not in circumstances, but in your response to them. The Buddha said, "Suffering does not come from what happens, but from how we carry it." When you carry another's anger, you allow them to enter your mind. When you absorb the world's negativity, you surrender your inner space of stillness. But you are not a sponge meant to soak up others' emotions. You are a mirror. Let everything reflect through you, but do not let it cling. Do not try to fix another's mind. Keep your own steady. This does not mean coldness or indifference. The detachment the Buddha spoke of is not disconnection from love, but love without attachment, helping without losing your ground, listening without losing your clarity. A heart can open to the world and still remain protected by awareness. When you learn to pause, take a slow breath, you create a sacred space in which you can choose your response. And in that space, you rediscover freedom. Each morning, before stepping out into the world, whisper to yourself, "Nothing outside me can disturb the peace within." Let that sentence become your invisible shield, guarding your energy. For no one can take away your stillness unless you forget it is yours. Let the world come and go, like clouds across the sky. Let words pass without needing to prove anything. When you learn to hold, your center life loses its power to make you suffer. And soon you'll see peace is not the reward for when everything goes right, but the strength of one who knows how to return to themselves even when nothing is calm. Most people wake up running not with their feet but with their minds. The moment their eyes open, pressure knocks on the door, unfinished tasks, unanswered messages, unfulfilled responsibilities. The mind races before the body even takes its first breath. And so they begin the day, not with life, but with tension. Yet, the Buddha once said, the greatest mistake humans make is thinking they have time. We live as if life will truly begin after everything is in order, after the work is done, after success arrives, after we gain one more thing. But life does not begin when we finish. Life is happening right now. Morning sets the rhythm of your day, and if you begin in haste, you will spend the rest of the day chasing your own tail. So, pause. Instead of jumping up to check your phone or your schedule, take a deep breath. Feel the air move through your chest. Feel the warmth of your body still wrapped in blankets. Then whisper to yourself, "Today I choose presence over pressure." That single sentence is a vow, a promise to live fully within each moment, instead of letting moments slip past in fog. Presence is the state of full awareness when whatever you do, your mind is there. When you eat, you truly taste. When you listen, you truly hear. When you work, you are not mentally juggling 100 other things. Pressure arises when the mind lives in the future, while the body remains in the present. Presence is what reunites the two. And where they meet, there is peace. Pressure does not always come from the outside. Often, it's born from the words you whisper to yourself. "I need to go faster. I'm not enough. I should be doing more." Watch those phrases. They are not motivation, they are chains. You don't need to run to prove your worth. Your worth is not measured by how much you do, but by the quality of how present you are in what you do. Remember, you can do everything and still remain calm. Presence doesn't slow you down. It gives meaning to every action. When you work in stillness, your work becomes meditation. When you walk with awareness in each step becomes a ritual. When you speak with listening, your words become healing. So in the morning, don't start with your to-do list. Start with a breath. Sit quietly for a few minutes. Place your hand on your chest. Feel your heartbeat and whisper, "I am here. I am enough. I am ready to step into this day with stillness." For one day lived in presence is worth more than 100 lived in haste. And when you are truly present, you are not merely living a day, you are living your whole life. Each morning, even before the sun climbs high, most people unconsciously clench their fists, gripping their plans, their expectations, their belief that everything must go just right. They enter the day not with openness, but with a heart of control. Yet the Buddha taught, the root of suffering is attachment. When you say, "Things must happen this way," you are already inviting anxiety. When you insist, "I cannot lose this," you build the prison of fear. The truth is, life does not need your control. Life only needs your trust. Look at a river. It doesn't try to flow, it simply flows. When it meets rocks, it doesn't resist. It bends, moves around, and continues. Because it yields, it never gets stuck. But humans cling to jobs, to relationships, to results, to reputation, and suffer when these things inevitably change. We forget that everything in life is temporary. Joy flows, sorrow flows, nothing stays. And when you fight that current, you only drain your own strength. Try letting go even just a little. Release the belief that everything must be perfect. Release the expectation that others must understand you. Release the fear that if you stop controlling everything will fall apart. Then watch something miraculous unfold. When you let go, life does not collapse. It begins to rearrange itself beautifully, like an open hand that can finally receive something new, like bamboo that bends with the wind and therefore never breaks. Letting go is not weakness. It is the strength of one who trusts in the natural flow of life. Sometimes what you want doesn't arrive because you're not yet ready for it. Sometimes what you lose is simply what no longer belongs to your current path. Letting go is accepting life's intelligence, trusting that every shift carries a lesson. When you loosen your grip, you stop swimming upstream and start flowing with existence itself. In that current, you do not lose yourself. You simply shed unnecessary weight and become lighter, freer. Each morning before rushing into the day, whisper to yourself, "Today I let go so life can flow." Then take a deep breath. Feel your chest open as if each breath washes away the tension that lingers. You don't need to know exactly how things will unfold. You only need to know you are peaceful enough to meet them. For when you let go, you don't give up control. You give it back to the wisdom of the universe, to the flow of life, and to the clearest part of yourself. The 5 morning truths are not beautiful sayings to memorize. They are 5 mirrors reflecting how you meet life each day. Because the way you begin your morning is how you rebuild the foundation of your entire life. When you pause, breathe, and speak the right words, your mind realigns, your energy renews, and life begins to flow with greater ease. The first truth reminds you, I am not my thoughts. I am the stillness beneath them. When you remember you are the sky, not the clouds, no negative thought can lead you astray. Peace begins not when the mind stops thinking, but when you stop identifying as the mind. The second truth awakens a sense of wholeness. Everything I need is already within me. Instead of seeking outward, you return inward to the source of wisdom, love, and strength that was always there. When you recognize your own completeness, life stops being a race and becomes an act of giving. The third truth teaches inner strength. Nothing outside me can disturb the peace within. When you can hold your center amid noise, you cease being a victim of emotion and become its master. True peace is not when the world is quiet, but when you can remain quiet within it. The fourth truth opens the art of slow living. Today I choose presence over pressure. The world will always rush, but you can choose your own rhythm, each step steady, each breath full. When you live in the present, everything you do deepens, and time becomes your companion, not your pursuer. The final truth is the key to freedom. I let go so life can flow. When you release the urge to hold everything tightly, life begins to organize itself. The river never struggles to flow, and neither must you. True power lies not in control, but in trust. Choose one morning, no rush, no social media, just you, your breath, and these 5 truths. Repeat them in silence, not as mantras, but as promises. Each truth is a step inward, a reminder to the heart that you don't need to become someone else to find peace. Because peace is not something to seek, it is something to remember. When these 5 truths are practiced daily, they reshape not only your morning, but your entire life. Begin each day not with work, but with awareness. Begin with stillness. Let every sunrise be a ceremony of awakening where you do not just wake up, but truly awaken. When the mind grows still, truth begins to speak. Morning is no longer the start of another tiring cycle. It becomes a doorway back to yourself. These 5 truths, practiced daily, gradually, become the natural rhythm of your life, gentle yet steady, quiet yet profound. They are not doctrines, nor obligations, but gentle reminders, guiding your mind amid a restless world. For life never lacks noise. It only lacks the moments when we pause to listen to the voice within. When you begin your day in stillness, the outer world mirrors that stillness back to you. When you choose peace over reaction, you not only save yourself, you radiate that peace to those around you. One person who can pause, breathe, and smile amid chaos becomes an invisible anchor for every space they touch. Peace is contagious, like the fragrance of incense. It needs no words, yet it seeps into every heart. That is the deepest meaning of practicing the morning truths, not to change the world, but to become light within it. When one person lives in awareness, they awaken not only for themselves, but for the souls still asleep. A gentle word can plant a seed of calm. A mindful breath can dissolve a storm. A smile can melt the invisible walls between hearts. Imagine if every morning people spent a few quiet minutes returning not to social media, not to pressure, but to their breath and awareness. How much softer the world would become. There would be fewer arguments, fewer comparisons, and more moments of understanding. Because personal awakening is the first brick in building collective peace. If these truths have touched you, do not keep them for yourself. Share them not necessarily through words, but through the way you live. Let every morning of yours be a silent message that peace is real, that stillness survives the storm, that a human being can still walk gently through a hurried world. Tomorrow morning before the sun rises, place your hand on your heart and whisper, "Today, I choose peace. I choose presence. I choose to let go." Then, smile. For when even one person lives with a clear heart, the world grows a little less dark. And perhaps that is the simplest way to spread the Buddhist teaching, not through sermons, but through your breath, your smile, and the stillness of every dawn.